Hey everyone, welcome back to part 5 of Covalence's multi-part series on building a Reddit app using Next.js and Tailwind. Today we're going to be going over adding pagination to the Reddit posts themselves. So we're going to be doing a next and a previous button, and we're going to be doing it a little bit in more of an advanced sense. For the previous button, instead of just doing a router.back, we're going to actually use the Reddit APIs before functionality. And we're even going to encounter a little Reddit bug and fix that as well. So please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button below and let us know if there's anything that we could do better or if there's any other topics that you'd want to see. All right, enjoy. All right, so the first thing we're going to do on our little pagination journey is we're going to actually add some icons. And there's a NPM package called Hero Icons that works really well with React. So we're going to npm I at hero icons / react - save. We'll go to our package.json just to make sure that actually gets added. Looks good. There's some vulnerabilities, but they're probably not anything too severe. We can npm audit that later, or we can just not worry about it for now. So let's go ahead and go to our index page here. And what we're going to be doing here is we're actually going to be adding a next and a previous button. And so to do this, Reddit's API, it gives you an after, which is an ID. It's actually, it's the kind of post with an underscore and then the ID of the post. And that's basically the last post that it delivers, and it's saying that you pass up after, and it's going to give you the next set of posts after that, right? It's actually going back in time, so it's a little bit inverse when you think about it that way. But we're going to add a little div after our list here. And actually, to make it look a little bit better as well, I'd like to kind of make a container around this. So let's just say div, we'll add the list inside of this div. And then we're going to add our bar underneath it, which is going to be flex. And we're going to say justify between. And then we're going to have we're basically going to have two links, right? And we can hide one and show one, whether or not we can go back or forward. We should always be able to go forward. It's whether or not we'll be able to go back. And so before, we were having our list kind of be our container. And so we can kind of move this a little bit. So let's go ahead and remove that. Right, this is our list, right? And then we'll decrease the padding bottom on this a little bit, and we'll go back to our index, save that, go back to our index, and this class name will now act as that. So let's go ahead, mxauto, and we'll also put our pv5 on there. It's padding bottom. And then in here we're going to have our links, and so we need to actually import our links, next/link. And we'll go ahead and add our links in here. They'll have the hrefs. And we'll put our anchor tag in there. We can remove the href from that. But it will have a class name on it. And inside of here, we'll have an icon and a span. This will be our previous. And we'll have flex, items, center, justify center on these, and let's see, that should work. And then we'll copy this, and this will be next. All right, and then we'll have our icon, and what we can do is we can import our icons. So let's import from at hero icons, and then we actually have to name the type, which is going to be solid. Let's go ahead and put these up here. And we'll say arrow narrow left and arrow narrow right. So there's a ton of different icons that you can use. And the reason we're doing this, we don't need these icons for the previous and next, but it's cool, and we can also use these later on as well. So let's just say this one is going to be arrow narrow left, and we'll put a class name on here. We'll give it a height, let's say height 5, and what else would we need? Oh, a little bit of margin probably, right? So MR1. All right, and then we can go ahead, put this one next, and this is going to be arrow narrow right. and instead of MR, we'll say ML. All right, so we may have to change this, or we may not have to. It depends. So let's go ahead and think about this a little bit. What else do we need? We need to be able to construct these hrefs, right? Which is really just going to be query parameters. And to do that, Reddit actually requires you to have for it to have a before, it needs a count value, because it needs to know how many posts you've seen already. And we're going to limit that to the actual query.limit that's passed in. So what we can do is we can actually go ahead and say that we're going to pass in an additional prop here, and it's going to be Reddit query params, and we're really just going to pass in our query value, right? And so when we do this, we can say if is empty query.count, we're going to set the query.count to 0. And in here, we're going to pass in our query. And so we will now have access to this query in our homepage. Okay, so now that we have access to the query, let's go ahead and start grabbing values off of it. So we can say we can grab our limit, and we're going to cast it to a number. And we also need the actual data from our post response. So const pdata equals postres.data, right? I guess we can be safe there. Postres.data. And then we'll also have, we can grab our after value, right? So we're probably going to, we may need to change this. It's a funny little issue with the actual Reddit API that I discovered. And so for now, we're going to keep this as a changeable variable, and we're going to say pdata.after, and then we'll also have the count value as well that we might need to change. So count, there we go. Okay, so now we have our limit, we have our pdata, we have the after value, which is really just the kind, the post kind underscore post ID of the last post that's delivered, right? All right, and then so now we can have, let's see, const has after equals not is empty, whoa, got some caps, not is empty after. We can have our const has before equals not is empty. That's going to be pdata.before. And then we can also take this right here, and we're already checking if there's a subreddit, right? So let's go ahead and create a variable for this as well. So const has sub equals this whole thing. And now we can go and replace that. Bam. If has sub, we show the subreddit. All right, awesome. And then we can actually also make this pdata, right? All right. So now we have most of the variables that we probably need. Now, if we think about this a little bit, if we're going forward, we're going to be basically passing in an after value. Technically, we could make this link just, we could use router, we could use the next router, or we can just say go back, right? That would be pretty simple, and it would probably accomplish exactly what we needed to do. But that's kind of defeating the purpose of showing you everything that you can do here, and realistically, like making the pagination, you know, fluid with the Reddit API, right? And so it's kind of up to you. You could simplify this significantly by just doing a button here and then just doing router.goback, or it might just be router.back. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to construct the link using the before value, right? And that's why we passed in the count at all. So you wouldn't actually need this count if you were just moving forward and then using the router.goback function. But we're going to go a little bit further here, and for the sake of just showing you guys how to do it, we're going to add this little before aspect of it, right? Now, let's go ahead and just think about this, because if there is a before, the count value has to change, right? It has to actually go down, as opposed to if we go next, we're actually going to increase that count value, right? And we always want to show, you know, the limit, which is just the number of posts that we passed in. And so let's go ahead and just say if not is empty, query.before, then we want to decrease the count, right? We're going to decrease the count by the value of the limit because that's how many that we had before, right? And then I like to always do like a little double check here. So if count is less than 0, let's just do count equals 0, just in case, right? And we could even say if not count or count, or let's just say if is empty count or count is less than 0, count equals 0, right? So we're always going to keep it as a number. And then we can actually construct our before and after queries. So we can say bQuery, which is going to be models.iGetRedditPosts, and that's going to be just our count value. Whoops, and then const aQuery, which is our after query, same thing. And it's actually going to have a different count value. Its count value is going to be count plus limit, right? Because after the fact, we've actually seen an additional 10 posts. And it doesn't actually matter, but the reason that we're doing this is that on the next page, we're going to be passing in the count value of the next count value, right? If that makes sense. I know that didn't sound right, but we're passing in the count of the next value after the new ones are fetched. So we're going to do count plus limit as that count value. And also, if it has sub, if there is a sub in there, then we want to say aQuery or bQuery.s equals aQuery.s equals subreddit. All right. Now, if has before, then we do bQuery.before equals pdata.before, and we know that it exists. And if has after, then aQuery.after equals pdata, or it's actually just equals after because we have a variable for that. So we have this variable. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense why we made a variable for after and not before. It will in a second because there actually is a bug with the Reddit API, and I will show you what that bug is before we fix it. But we will need that variable in a little bit. So just for sanity's sake, it's already in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. So all right, so looks like we have a next and a previous showing, which is not what we want. But if we look in here, the previous actually doesn't go anywhere. So we forgot to do a huge major step in this, but at least our buttons are looking good, which is a good first little step, right? So let's go back here. I realized that we never actually even styled these things. Let's just say we want, a little bit of padding, py2, px1. Actually, let's not do any px. Let's just do py2, let's do py3. Why not? Add a little bit more padding. And also, we need to create these links. We actually need to create the hrefs, right? So what we can do is we'll say whack serialize query bQuery, and the same thing for the after, but with aQuery. And that returns your question mark, and everything should be good there. But what we also want to do is we want to hide and show these based on whether or not they need to be hidden or shown, right? So let's go ahead and say that on top of all of this, we're going to say is empty bQuery.before invisible, else nothing, right? We add a little space there, add the additional class. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. Actually, let's just copy the whole thing. And it's going to be aQuery, whoops, dot after. All right, so now we're checking if that exists. We show it. If not, hide it. I also want to make this smaller. Let's make it a different styling. Text gray 500. And we can make it a little bit bold too. So font medium. There we go. So make it stand out just a bit. All right, that's already looking better, and we can now see that on page load, there is not a previous, there's only a next button, and we can go ahead and click next, and it appears like we're getting the right values, right? We have a previous button now, we have a next button, we can go next again, root cause, and it looks like the same post is at the top there, and this one is the same post. If we just were to reload the actual page itself, we can see that it's grabbing the right value. So now if we search subreddit, all right, it looks like it looks just fine, although let's go ahead and go next. And all right, we got some other new values, go previous, and bam, there's an issue here, right? This is not the same two that were in the top. And it looks like we don't really know exactly what's going on here, right? But let's go ahead. Let's just go back. Let's go ahead. We'll go click up here, click enter again, redo that search. And these are the two that we want at the top. This one looks like the one. We're missing it by a factor of 2, right? Or I guess it's a difference of 2. But this list looks pretty long, right? So if we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's the issue, right? The issue is that even though we're passing in a limit of 10, Reddit's API with this subreddit, I don't know if it's every subreddit. I haven't done too much digging into it, but it gave us 12 children for some reason. And so what we need to do is we actually have to come in here and check what's going on. And what we should do is we should really limit the number. No matter how many Reddit returns, we should limit the number to 10. The issue would really be, we could cause a problem if it returns less than 10. But for now, we're going to handle the case. We haven't seen that case yet, so we're going to actually handle the case where we limit it to 10, right? All right, so the way that we can do this is that we can actually slice the children, and we can adjust this after value to be the last child in that list of these sliced elements, right? And so after here, what we want to check is if pdata.dist, right, which is the actual number returned, is greater than limit, or if that dist isn't updated, we want to account for all the possibilities with Reddit's API being wrong. So we want to check, they could return 10 children, but then the after value could be wrong, right? In which case we would still have to change it to be the new ID of the last child in this list, otherwise we're still going to have a problem. So we actually want to do a little double check here. We want to do pdata.children.length as well. We want to just slice these values. Oops. pdata.children. And it's probably a good idea to add these in there just in case. pdata.children.slice 0 limit. And we will now grab our last child, and that's going to be pdata.children indexed into limit -1. And with our last child, the after value will now be a new string that is last child dot kind underscore last child no, it's actually last child dot data. Right. There we go. So last child dot kind, last child dot data dot id. All right. So now we have a new after value. We're checking if has after the fact, right? So we're still checking that. That's still consistent. And we're now slicing these to be only of length 10. All right, so everything else seems to look like it should work just fine. Let's go ahead and save that. Get everything recompiled. We will rerun this search. And now when we click next, this is already looking a little bit better. Let's go ahead, hit previous, and bam, we have our 2 in there from the beginning. Let's go ahead and click next in through a couple of these. Previous, and these are the correct two. So make sure this still works as well. Bam. First one's there. So it's looking good, and our pagination looks like it's doing everything correctly, and we accounted for an issue with the Reddit API. And this is why testing third-party APIs is so important, and you should always look for those edge cases and account for them in your code and make your application as robust as possible. All right, everyone. I will see you next time. All right, so there you go. Quick and easy pagination using the Reddit API, both the after and the before functionality. We even discovered a little issue with the API itself. If there's any Reddit API developers out there, maybe you could let us know what's going on with that or what could possibly be causing that. Maybe I did something wrong. Who knows? But please, please, please subscribe if you haven't already. And don't hesitate to give us a shout if there's any other content you'd love to see. All right, everyone. See you later.